Assalamu alaikum, and thank you everyone to be here today. I think we are talking about something that is, I think it is a buzzword today when we refer to AI or artificial intelligence. Lots are happening. Every day is a day of development. Every minute we count the new invention. And every time we open the tech news, we find something new happening within the area of artificial intelligence. From Elon Musk to a student here at SQU, we all are kind of obsessed with this artificial intelligence. Now, the problem being is that how much do we know about it? How much we can actually exploit AI, and how much we can actually achieve at the end of the day. So yes, we can, but it is not a very plain path. It is not easy to actually reach the destination using AI. It sounds good, it looks good, it appears to be good, and students and academics, we are all excited about the opportunities available through AI, especially in terms of within our learning platform. But how much we can achieve, that is what we are going to discuss today. Before I go to the slides, let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Sharif. I work at the Department of Management at Sultan Qaboos University and the College of Economics and Political Science. Prior to coming here, I was in Australia. I worked for Monash University, Arrowhead University, and the University of Tasmania. And I also worked for Mesa University in New Zealand. Although technology is not my forte, but it is something that I started doing since my original interest was in independent learning or self-learning. AI gave a real boost to the area of independent learning or self-learning, and that actually triggered my interest to know a little bit more about it and to do some research on that. And that's basically why I'm here, and at least I will try to say something. I know that most of you know all these things, but especially for students, and I think it is important that you need to know that how much you can do and how much you should do. Now, we know that AI has transformed the learning platforms around the world. And but as I mentioned, as the topic suggests, that there are some risks. Now, I just used this slide. I did use it in other occasions as well. There are many ways to look at, right? And which way to go? Should we actually rely entirely on AI, or abandon anything else? And at the same time, when we actually exchange views, exchange states, it's not always we exchange flowers. Sometimes we exchange something which is very bad. That could actually affect us negatively. Now, on the other hand, if you just look at this life cycle of products, or what we can do, what we can achieve. But some people are suggesting that AI is leading us towards an end game where our skills, our thoughts, our creativity could be at stake. Is it the case? And of course, eventually, if we find something, we will say Eureka, and we always look for that Eureka moment. Can we do something positive using AI within the learning platform? I'll just try to go through these things. I will try to be quick. as much as I could, and then I would like to have some interactions with students, if I may, if time permits. Now, just introducing AI-powered self-learning environments, what are the key opportunities, risks, strategies to mitigate risks, optimizing opportunities, and so on. Now, before I actually get on to the concept of AI, I think being an independent learning center, it is also important to know what we actually mean by self-learning. I will not spend too much time on that. We know that it is something that when students come to the new environment, to a university, or from going from one level to another, from one institution to another, from home teaching to school teaching, from school teaching to college teaching, to and then finally when they're exposed to the higher education, sometimes it is a challenging task for them. So one of the major challenges for those students is the need to undertake some learning activities on their own as a part of the academic curriculum. We call them self-learning or independent learning, and sometimes those activities pose considerable challenges to those students with likely impact on their academic results or progress or success. Now, here, if you just look at this particular one, that some students actually get stuck in the middle, they can't actually go too far, and so on. And some students actually resort to unfair practices, including plagiarism, contract writing, and cheating. That is a serious issue. When AI first came into being, we know that the students found it a real opportunity to do something without the help of their teachers or something. Some people, some of the academics at that particular point, we became worried. We thought that, well, what is happening, plagiarism in a very different form, in an innovative form, how can we contain that? In many universities, in many institutions, they wanted to stop it initially. They wanted to alert students that don't do it, it is bad for you. But after a while, we all realized that, yes, this cannot be the game. It is we need to play the game as well. Rather than stopping the game, we should be a part of the game. That is when the whole change of hearts, change of mind started happening. That can we actually make students adopting AI without adopting plagiarism or cheating? I think this is the primary challenge, and this challenge is valid. We are trying. I think today we will discuss that a bit more. We will try to add some flash to it. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Self-learning, you know what it is, implications for students' own ability and efforts to learn while managing their time in an efficient manner. Transitioning from dependent to independent learning, as I mentioned already, that it is sometimes difficult, especially, as parents at home. What we do to our kids, we try to give them hands all the time. Okay, you are in trouble, let me help you out. So you want to do this, let me help you out. And you want to, because you always want as parents to have your kids in better grades, to get into better universities, to succeed in their lives. By doing it, we do two things. We make them dependent, and number two, we literally, sometimes, not always, destroy their creativity, innovativeness, their, kind of search for new things. that particular mindset we bring. So when they come to the university, they get into the new ballgame. It becomes very difficult for many of them to cope with the new environment. That is when all these things happen. That how can they actually move through that difficult transition period? I was very pleased to see one thing. When I first came here more than 2 years ago here at SWU, I was walking by, and when I saw there was a center called Independent Learning Center, I became so excited. Actually, I contacted the people here that who is there, I'm here, can I talk to you? That is what I did. Because not many universities around the world have a center like this. So students, you are very lucky. The way they are actually trying to get you there, I think it is something exceptional. Not many institutions like this exist in the world. But anyway, so here I think the last sentence is quite important to me. The role of teachers in this regard is perceived to be academic experts and guides in one hand, and moral and social mentors and leaders on the other. A close student-teacher association, therefore, is an important component of the student's academic journey. But now with the advent of AI, is it still valid? Is it still valid? Do our students consider us as important as they thought before? Where do we stand as academics? Where do the learners and teachers? That is there a relationship there? Is it becoming stronger, or we need to do something about it? And as I said earlier, that we cannot get rid of AI. We need to be in the realm of AI to guide students to the right direction, not defying AI, but together with AI. Look, that is a slide I just thought that I quickly show you. Again, as COVID, what happened in COVID? The COVID time was a very bad time. We know that. But COVID actually changed our world. COVID-19 literally changed our world. So I can tell you one thing, that when we started teaching online, I was at RMIT University in Australia at the time, and it was a struggle for us. Although we started teaching online for a very brief period of time, but we didn't know how to do it. It was a difficult time, but we learned a lot of things. And at that time, AI was also evolving as a medium. And actually, we started using some of the AI tools at that time. Very limited, but we did. And some of the apps that we started using a long time ago, including Grammarly, these are all AI tools anyway. So that probably was a lot of experimentation happened at that time, and that probably was a time when we started rethinking how we could actually use AI to our learning environment. Now, ChatGPT defines AI. That is, AI defines AI in this way. It refers to the development of computer systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. This is very important. Human intelligence is needed. So some students may think that, well, it is all machine. It is not machine. It is machine dictated by humans. And we must not forget that, right? This includes tasks like learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and understanding natural language. AI systems learn from data and experiences, allowing them to adapt and improve over time. So, here, a very interesting part is that yes, AI can act like humans. AI can think like humans. Then, can AI start behaving like humans? So, there are many different steps when we talk about AI. It is a trained. We are talking about machine training and what sort of training, mimicking human actions, but can they actually mimic the actual behavior of human? We probably are not up to that level. Anyway, we'll come to that point. That is more our engineers and scientists friends to be capable of answering. Now, when asked ChatGPT to provide the best and briefest definition of AI, it mentioned the simulation of human intelligence processed by machine. So it is machinery, but human intelligence cannot be ignored. Now, at the end of the day, when we refer to the actual definition of AI, do we all really know what AI really means? It is an interface, of course, human intelligence and artificial intelligence, but our understanding of both is still co-evolving. So, understanding it is still co-evolving. It is not yet fully blown, right? By using computers and machines, AI uses algorithms, you know that, imitate and create models of human intellectual abilities that functions in a given environment while displaying some degree of intelligent behavior and autonomy to provide certain outputs or achieve some goals. It could be used in a variety of applications that may include robotics, natural language processing or NLP, machine vision, game playing decision support system, and so on. Now, here is a catch. When we say, what is AI, and is it artificial? And some people believe that it is neither artificial nor intelligent. So why still we call it artificial intelligence? It is a question mark. It is a question mark. You can say that what's in it? In reality, what we call artificial intelligence today is neither artificial nor intelligent. The earlier AI systems were heavily dominated by rules and programs. So some talk of artificiality was at least justified. But those of today, including everyone's favorite ChatGPT, draw their strength from the work of real humans. Maybe the academics who are present today, their works are also included in the machine learning. So machines cannot have a sense rather than mere knowledge of the past, the present, and the future. Sure. Now, this is an AI-generated image on AI and human beings, and very interesting how AI actually drew these images. If you just look at that, they're showing the brains, but they connected some waves, some vibes, and through which they are saying, AI is suggesting that human brains is very much connected via some sort of visible or invisible connectivity. Now, how reliable is AI? It is very important for students in particular to understand that. I know for experts, you all know it, because I thought that today's participants are mostly students. I need to make them understand that AI could have all sorts of mistakes. AI can do all sorts of blunders. When you rely heavily on AI, you should also know that AI could provide you with falsified information, wrong information, exaggerated information, unethical information. That is very important for you to do. We will come to that point that how do you overcome these things, my dear students, especially. So there could be fabrications and definite statements on uncertain history, like these are coming. So actually I showed some examples before, but here I did include that. So if you just, because Google was Google lost about $1 billion for a wrong information it provided through Google Guard. That happened about a year ago, right? So if you just look at hallucination, what is hallucination then? So because when chatbots or AI actually keep learning, they try to mimic or copy human intelligence or based on the information provided. And what is the AI also chatbots also try to create their own information similar to that. That's why actually when you get when you write something on OpenAI or somewhere asking for something, they get those information, and some of the information they know that which word is coming after which word is most likely to come after which word. That is what grammar means, right? So, and then sometimes they find words which are not real, but it goes well with the previous word, right? So they sometimes even make up the names of books and authors through this hallucination. So even references, sometimes we say that you cannot rely 100% without checking the authenticity of the book or the writer or the journal it is referring to. Should be very careful. Yeah, that's just an example. One mistake that was in 2023, 100 billion lost by Google. So if chatbot can make mistake and Google cannot catch it, so students, you know that you could face this sort of blunders, and you should be very careful as well. Now, ChatGPT in this figure clearly mentioned, they have a disclaimer, right? Our goal is to get external feedback in order to improve our system, that's fine. While we have safeguards in place, the system may occasionally generate incorrect or misleading information and produce offensive or biased content. It is not intended to give advice. This is ChatGPT itself. Okay? So that means what? Whatever we do, we need to be careful. There are issues within ChatGPT when we go for learning, then all these things need to be carefully looked at. So, look, we know that ChatGPT has already transformed self-learning or independent learning space. It offers a lot of promises, but at the same time, it also has a lot of pitfalls. Now, when we refer to AI-powered self-learning environments, just quickly if we try to define it, it is a system or platform that uses artificial intelligence to facilitate autonomous, personalized learning experiences for users. So you want an answer, you ask a question, and you get something out of that. It adapts to the learner's needs, preferences, and pace, offering customized content and recommendations to optimize the learning process. So, purpose is to transform education and training with so-called smart technologies. Now, what are the key components? These ones, most of you actually know about this. I just quickly try to give you an idea to our students. One is algorithm, machine learning algorithm. AI-powered system use ML to continuously improve the learning experience by analyzing user data, understanding patterns, and adapting content based on a learner's performance, behavior, and interactions. And interestingly, though, that what you get out of AI, the inputs given through machine learning, these days that is also updated not only on the basis of inputs through algorithms, they are also incorporating the way you question the chatbot. What are the questions? You can have a multi-layered questions. Some people actually ask questions, it could be a page long, the question itself. So, interestingly, AI actually saves those information as well. And when we talk about machine learning, this thing, in many discussions you will not hear that this is not just the inputs, not just the existing algorithms that is incorporated within AI, but your inputs as a student, as an academic, as a learner, are also incorporated very quietly by the chatbot. Because it learns the patterns, it learns your behavior, how you behave. So if you go to the Instagram or Facebook, you search for something, once, twice, similar sort of thing, and next time you open the Facebook or Instagram, it will keep showing you your interested kind of contents. There is AI. Simple. So your behavior is being incorporated. Your and when they update the chatbots or anything, they incorporate those kind of things as well. Adaptive learning, these environments can adjust learning paths and activities. If you just look at this example, if a learner struggles with a certain topic, the system can provide additional resources for simplified explanations. Conversely, if the learner excels, it may offer more challenging material. Look, there are some, there's an academy, I don't know, you may know of it, Khan Academy, the Khan Academy in the US, and around the world, many of them actually are adopting the way they teach. And Khan Academy is the first institution that actually started using AI very successfully. And they use this thing, basically. And parents and students both actually love that. But okay, I can see that it's improving. I can see that being better than before. AI analyzes data from learners' interactions with the system, such as quiz results, time spent on tasks, create personalized experiences. This ensures that each learner follows a path best suited to their learning style and needs. So, more questions you throw to AI, more it will understand about your behavior, what you really want. Now we'll come to that difficult point where are you capable of asking the right question? Are you capable of learning, asking for a question that will improve the capacity, your learning capacity, or your learning experience? So that is also a part. We will come to that point in a minute, because it is not the question you ask. The ability of question is also important. And where do you get that ability?
how do we actually build that ability? That is also very important. It will provide you some feedback so that you can have streamlined evaluations, you can improve where you have lapses, and so on, which is pretty good. AI can also provide immediate and personalized feedback, allowing learners to understand their mistakes and correct them in real time. Automated grading and assessment tools powered by AI help streamline evaluations. Many people believe that especially it is good for ourselves, because when we go for multiple choice or some sort of formatted questions, it becomes a lot easier for us to mark. But at the same time, when you mark, you just grade them. What about comments to be made to students? So are we providing them enough comments? How do you do that? How do you incorporate that? Can I actually take help from AI to provide those comments to our students? It's not easy, because we academics also are very busy. We hardly have any time to make detailed comments. Can AI help? It can, but we'll have to come to that point a little bit later as well. So with AI, learning can become a continuous lifelong process. Learners can access up-to-date materials and tools anytime, ensuring that education doesn't stop once formal schooling ends. You can learn virtually, learn through AI. And I can remember when I was because I was a student at Monash University, and I was also an academic there. So their logo says Ancora Imparo. Ancora Imparo means I'm still learning. So AI is actually giving that opportunity for us to still learning. Whatever age, or how old you are, how young you are, that doesn't really matter. It can deliver high-quality tailored learning experiences that scale, making it possible to educate and train large number of individuals without the need for a proportional increase in human instructors. That is, I think that Khan Academy is a very good example in that way. Now, many universities, they are now delivering MOOCs, and those MOOCs units, some of you definitely are familiar with that. That's open, free, mass learning, mass programs. They are actually delivering online. Most of them, you don't need to pay any fee for them, right? Even Harvard is doing it, so you should try those kind of things. At the end, we assume that there should be an improved level of efficiency in terms of learning, in terms of incorporating through the incorporation of AI. Now, how much time I have? Another hour? A little bit more? I think so. Now, there are some examples of AI-powered self-learning environments. If you just look at these, I think, as I mentioned, a good example would be there are some here, Carnegie Learning for Alex and Khan Academy, personalized tutoring based on learners' responses. Now, another one, I think many universities do that. SPU is also doing some kind of course setup, as you know. We are not, as far as I know, we are not subscribing Khan Academy. It's more at school and college level, at the high school level. So integrate AI to personalize content delivery, automate assessment, and offer feedback. And virtual learning assistants, we are familiar with that. More or less, tools like Google Classroom. I think many of our academies, we use Google Classroom. I use Google Classroom. And Actually, this semester I have decided not to use the our model, rather, and it is very user friendly. It is very student friendly, and the students actually love it. And that is something we can do, and that is also actually, if you think in that way, university is also benefiting from that, and we can get some resources off, and so we can use these online resources. It's pretty easy to do that. This is, I think at this particular point, I would like to ask some questions to my students, if I may. Now, what sort of AI tool you use? Anyone? ChatGPT. Okay, which one is better? So who uses ChatGPT? Okay. So what do you think about ChatGPT?
Well, I think that it's very helpful in explaining complex concepts for me. However, I feel like the sources, I mean, you mentioned up-to-date sources. Most of the time, ChatGPT will tell me that I only have access until 2021. So I don't have updated sources. Not just that, but I also kind of ask some questions, and then I know that it gives me false information. So when I give it the right information, they will be like, yes, you're absolutely right. That's my mistake. So that I know that ChatGPT is not very reliable at all. So I use it just if I want to have like brainstorming sessions with ChatGPT maybe, or understanding complex concepts that I need to fact check in Google after getting from ChatGPT. So that's how I use it, basically.
Beautiful. That is a fantastic way of using ChatGPT. But interestingly though, when we move from ChatGPT to Google, Google also had that problem, right? So, and you see sometimes about some medicine, about some health issues, you will see that, okay, if you can feel that it is not quite authentic, then you go for fact check, right? So there are multiple layers of fact checks you can go for. It's not quite easy to do that. So now, if there is a complex question, I know, you are a student of which department? So if you have a complex question, right? Any question, did you ever use that ChatGPT?
Yes, sometimes.
Why did you use that?
Sometimes for my research. For example, online my research. And I mostly use it for graphic design.
Oh, graphic design, fantastic. So you find it quite useful?
Sometimes if I ask for some ideas courses or with AI tools.
Right.
So it's making
Still helpful. I think that is very good. So any other student can give me any idea if you are using it for a very complex question? Yes?
you not rely on research.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give you accurate information. You can just write it down, very down to the simple piece of information, which will answer it. But to rely on it on like thesis writing or like as a reference, like a specialized field, which will not answer. It will give you like false information. Specifically, as she said, that it's not up to date. Maybe you can see the most recent references, 2019, and you're writing a proposal, 2019. You see the writing now, it's not that recent. 2022 is really more of that. So, in terms of research, I think
Okay, but there could be some ways in which where research, yeah,
as research brainstorming,
yeah,
getting your thoughts together,
Right.
Cannot rely on it as a platform for collecting references because it's not up to date and doesn't have, I don't think it has a library for like, let's say, medical related books or references. Sometimes it writes like answers in fact that this reference is not available or I can't give you like specific information related to this topic.
So there is a limitation. So my respected academics, I think some of you are here. So this is a problem. Did any of you actually try to resolve these issues, that whether we can do some research or helping students in research? Did you try that, any of you? But some of our academics are going a little bit deeper than that these days. In some places, they are, because now there are some sites which could actually offer you referencing as well. They will do the referencing for you. But those referencing could be extremely, extremely dangerous, right? And that is a problem because one of my students actually asked her to do that, to try it, to see what happens. And she came up with something, and it was literally, it's a misnomer, nowhere. But the way it is actually drafted and presented, if you look at it, you would think that perfect. So that is where the problem is. Now, OpenAI and even Google Bard, they are trying to come up with something. They are trying, and I don't think it will be too late from now when they will have the ability to do it. Only problem is the copyright. So because of the copyright, they cannot actually do that because when you actually put the information into the machine, then if you say there's Cengage learning or Routledge, they will say that, okay, this is my journal, you are using it. Where is my money? So that is where the problem is. So at the end of the day, they are only using, until now, they are using the open access material. Only the open access material and very limited. So at the end of the day, whether they will be able to come up with the research stuff would be very, very difficult. And primarily because of the ethical and copyright issues. But we don't know. Maybe at the end of the day, everybody will fall into the place and say that, well, we will do it. We don't know. Maybe we will one day. Now, any question from anyone at this point? I haven't finished yet, although I'm using the word overall. Although the role of AI in student learning is not fully explored, it is likely to make self-learning more accessible and effective due to the abundance of educational resources and technologies available. AI has had a significant impact on various aspects of education, fostering a more personalized and adaptive learning experience. Now, here are some ways you can also look at that. So what are the primary challenges, right? Dependence on AI for problem solving. That is problematic. Over-reliance on AI for answering questions and problem solving, limiting critical thinking and analytical skills. So I received one or more than one actually assignments from students, very nicely written, with introduction, abstract, body, whatever, and for a lazy academic, you know, if you look at it and look at more or less getting there, you probably give that person good mark, not a very good mark, but probably a good mark. And when I started reading it, at one stage I realized what I read, what was the question, what I read. Terms were there, all the terminologies were there, right? But it was not the answer. It was totally irrelevant. It was, well, in a sense, it was well crafted without the content, right? And so that is a problem. So what is happening with AI? If you rely heavily on AI, you could be in trouble, and your learning capacity could be compromised as well. Creative thinking, critical thinking capacity could be compromised. That is the problem. For students, it is a danger. It is a real danger. So, information overload could be another issue, too much information, but some people would argue, like you did, that not much information. There are two things, right? Too much information on something which may not be relevant. Too little information on something which is important. That is the problem. There is a real gap between these two ends of that spectrum. Right, human interaction, I will come to this point a little later. Data privacy and security concerns, we know that there is an issue. Data privacy, security concerns, and another one is bias and ethical issues. So, any platform, this kind of platform could raise privacy and security concerns. Since AI became an important tool in terms of learning, in terms of all other activities, I think every year lots of cases are being lost in courts around the world because of this privacy breach, because of AI, and that is a problem. And of course, in terms of ethical issues, stereotypes and all these things are coming in, and it depends that who is actually incorporating those things, incorporating information, who is inserting those information in the language model, LLM model. Who are they? What sort of information they have? What sort of biases they have? Say, for example, if you actually go for a discussion on equity, and all sorts of information you will get. Some of you, in some countries, in some cultures, you will not be agreeing to those things. It could be quite dangerous, even to get onto those kind of things. But we are talking about equity, right? So this kind of controversial content could be there. Now, inclusivity, that's why it's a problem, because it depends on subjectivity of the people, the group, those who are actually preparing it or creating the chatbot, and LLM and all these things, large language models, whoever they're doing it is also important to understand that. Digital divide is an issue, lack of access to AI technologies, widens institutional inequality, job displacement due to automation. I don't really worry too much about this, that whether there will be real job displacement, there could be more creation of jobs as well. But this is one of the critics we always hear about. Now you go back to this thing. Lack of human interaction. Relying solely on AI for learning might lead to reduced human interaction. It could hinder collaborating and interpersonal skills for students and for teachers and for parents. It could be a challenging task. Now,
This one is giving a lot of issues now. We are saying that, are you guided properly? Sometimes the questions that we do, many academies these days, they have stopped using, giving assignments on written reports or something like that. They know that, okay, they're probably doing something. But there are ways where you can make it a little bit more difficult for students to do that. At least they will have to think and come up with some ideas before they can do that kind of things. So we are using a lot of, in our college, actually I introduced last year debates, just debates, and in one of the courses. And they will do debates on a multiple levels, on topics. And that is, it is difficult for them to take the help from the AI. In terms of information they can, but in terms of rebuttal, it is difficult for them to do. But this is something we can do, but we cannot entirely make students relying on this kind of activities. They will have to be able to write, they will have to be able to read, they will have to be able to analyze, and all these things are important for us. So that's probably why at university and institutions, human interactions, role of academics, role of instructors, very important. We'll come to the other point, how to overcome challenges. Maybe we can have more discussion on that. Now, in terms of our dependence, students should be encouraged to use AI as a tool for assistance and verification, not just finalizing things. That is what she has mentioned. I really like it. Okay, I use it for brainstorming, and then I try to find out things and do my research before I write something. If the students do that, I think they are on the right track. Also, when we look at the way of dependence, that you could ask multi-layered questions rather than just one question. Right? I was talking to my students that how to ask those multi-layered questions. And in order to understand and create those multi-layered questions, you need to know the material first. So that creating, say, I have given you one question. To find out the answer, can I ask you to create 10 other questions out of that one question? Sit down here in the class and do it without the help of your computer. I did that. So my students, most of my students, they come up with 3, 4, 5, 10 questions difficult for them to come up with of one question. So if you have 10 questions, then you have points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you ask AI, give me an answer to question number 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.10. So the brain needs to work. You need to make the brain work. Otherwise, the brain will be idle. And you don't want our students' brain to become idle. So that will create a generation in the future where the creativity will be lost. Now, information overload and reliability teach students how to evaluate the credibility of sources and verify information from multiple reputable sources. That is what I think I'm very pleased to see that some of you are already doing it. So AI is not a credible source. You must understand. Now, another about the dated information. Not only dated information, you must understand. I tried in my last lecture, those who attended here at Independent Learning Center, I gave you some examples of some personalities from Oman, right? Sports personality, music personality, and even from the royalty. I put some names. and they said that, you know, in ChatGPT we don't have this database. Because, you know, they will keep Robert Kennedy, they will keep Obama, they will keep XYZ, but the people, those whom you consider important, in Oman, right? Most of them actually are not there. If you want to do some research on them, you won't be able to do it because they don't recognize those names. That is also a very important part. So it is not that will give you hallucination, wrong information. It is not that they will give you dated information. It is not that you will always get some of the unethical information. But another problem is the information that you want is not there. It's not there at all. It doesn't exist in ChatGPT. So many students think that, okay, I'm going to ChatGPT, I have a question, I will get an answer anyway. No, you can't. That is the wrong thing as well. So here our slide is important, we mentioned that. Blended learning, I think here I am in the right place at Independent Learning Center, where you can learn about blended learning as a student. So I can learn more about blended learning. Can anyone tell me what is blended learning? Anyone? Face-to-face and virtual, right? So, and that is probably another interesting part of the thing. That's why when we went from online with the COVID time, we had one problem. Most students, they were not even showing their faces, right? It was on mute, no face. But what they were doing, we don't know. Well, even today, even these days, that now, so Campus University has a new rule that if there is a flood or natural disaster, you can do it online. Online, I am very uncomfortable because of this. I want to see the faces of my students. I want to talk to them. I want to see their smiles. I want to see when they become a little bit upset, angry, so that I can respond to it. Without that, it is wrong. But blended learning is important. That's why blended learning, if you do virtual, you cannot just do virtual, you do it together. That is a very important. And of course, personal interest or helping students in many different ways is also important at the same time. Now here, this is a very important one, especially for students who understand these things. Academics usually know that there is a problem and they take enough care before they do anything like this. Do you know what? When I was an academic at Monash University, our Vice Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor of Melbourne Uni at the time lost his job. Are you aware of anything like that? You know why did he lose his job? Plagiarism. The Vice Chancellor. The Vice Chancellor lost his job for plagiarism. What was the plagiarism? He wrote a lot of books. Right? He wrote about 100 books. So one of the books they found, because somebody was behind him to do something, right? And one or a couple of books they found that some of the paragraphs were copied from someone else. Then he mentioned, in order to defend himself, he said that I used my research assistant. He was not, trustworthy. He did something for it, but his name was not there. It was in his name. Huh? So this is the kind of thing which is very, very important to understand. So when we talk about the privacy one, transparency one, the referencing one, it is very important. Every year, many PhDs, they lose their title because of pleasure. Because of pleasure, right? They do it, and they probably take help from somewhere, including AI. Even if you do it AI, even if you paraphrase, if you are caught, you are in trouble. Yes, even Tom King can do it. So you should be extremely careful what you do in terms of your assignment, in terms of your master's thesis, PhD thesis. You should be careful about those kind of things. Now, inclusivity issue, regulate all AI systems for biases and work with developers to improve algorithmic fairness. Yes, it is not our job, it is to their job. Diversify the data used to train AI models to represent a broader range of perspectives. Here, our role here is that teachers can be vigilant in addressing bias. So, and should let students understand that okay, you should not do it, because once you finish, you will join the workforce. If you continue doing that in writing a report, you could be job. As simple as that. Now, here, of course, when we talk about creativity and imagination, we always try to encourage students to use AI tools as a starting point. I think you have done that. That is, I'm pleased to know that you are already doing it, but then challenge them to add their own original ideas to creative input. I would say, as I mentioned earlier, that from one question, create more questions. You still use AI, but you can go deep into it rather than, and those questions, 10 questions, don't ask AI to create 10 questions. Don't do that. If you really would like to learn, if you really want to learn, that's why I make it happen in the classroom, so that they need to write it down, right? But if you really want to learn, then don't cheat yourself. If there is a question given by your lecturer, by your professor, then try to do that. So do some homework on the question itself before you jump onto that AI. Give your brain some food to think and work. Now, digital divide, is it a problem? Here, you know what? Here at SQ, there is a question I would like to ask. So, does every one of you have similar sort of access to computer, to apps, to all sorts of resources? Do we have similar sort of access? What do you think? What do you think? They do have access. Everyone's same sort of access, or someone has less access than others? Less or same? What do you think, my dear students? You all have same access? You think that, okay, I don't have access to this, access to that. If I could have access to that one, I could have done better. Do you have any sort of, worry about this kind of thing?
I think we all have the same access.
Same? Yes? Everyone has access to the university resources. Only thing it worries me that if I go to the library, I go to the library every now and then. I hardly see any student there. Big library. Here, I belong to the College of Business. There's a big library there. I don't see a lot of students there. So, why is that? My dear, I know. But still, there are certain reference material which are in hard copies.
Ask academics, they will say that they don't learn paper books really very often. Electronic books, they save time, they save everything. You can just anything to find them on your phone or
yes, something, no, I know that is the only thing. But at the same time, I think, going to the library and going through some of the materials there, which are sometimes not actually, I have some materials I put in the library. And I asked them to, okay, access those things from the library. They're not very happy. They said that, okay, you could do PDF and put it there. The whole book, you can do it. Again, I can. But I'm still putting 10 copies and saying that go there and read from there. If you want to copy, you copy, I don't mind. But those will be hard copies. I know this is an old style kind of thing. But creating a habit of going to the library. Library is something we ignore these days. And can we actually make it a habit at least to go there, read some books, read some magazines which are not available sometimes online, right? And I know that all the newspapers and things like that you can read online. But I think if you can make it as a habit to go to the library at least once a week and then do something there, that is not a bad idea. Just giving your brain some kind of fresh start without looking at only electronic means. Just, I know it is not a very preferable thing for students. Now, when we refer to optimizing opportunities, AI-driven assessment, leverage AI for automated grading, personalized feedback, we do that actually. I use something called ZipGraph. Well, I don't know, some of you may be using ZipGraph. You don't use ZipGraph? ZipGraph is very good. And it actually allows you to provide feedback and advance and all sorts of things. It's pretty good. Yeah. Using AI to create interactive, engaging learning experiences, I think Google Space and they will provide you with all those kind of things. Pretty good if you use those kind of platforms. Now, AI can auto-generate study guides, flashcards, and personalized materials. But again, you need to be very careful about those auto-generated stuff. You need to go through it. You need to see that he's actually it is doing it according to the requirements. And now we have this OQF coming in. So we need to be, that needs to be OQF compliant, otherwise you could be in trouble. But usually it does a good job. Actually, when there is a template, if you can use the template, and it can do a good job for you. AI-powered collaboration platforms to encourage peer learning. Again, I think Google Space and even our Moodle could be a place where you can actually use this as a discussion forum and things like that. Students these days do not actually use the discussion forum anymore. So what sometimes I do in the classroom these days, without using AI or whatever, so sometimes I say that, well, the population of the world. So you know what is the population of the world today? So okay, maybe 8 billion something. Then can you tell me what was the population of the world in 1970? So they said that okay, you can have a look at your computer or the mobile phone. Try Google, ask Google, and see what is the population. And they said, well, it was only 3.5 billion. And I said, wow, it's 8.3 billion, now we're seeing 3.5 billion or 3 billion. So sometimes I don't use AI, I don't use anything, I just ask my students in the classroom, okay, you tell me. Now, all the problems that you have today, demographic or population has something to do with it, right? So sometimes we can avoid using anything, just simple information to engage students and create some sort of question in their heads. That is a good idea. So don't bore them with too much AI, too much, readings. Sometimes this could be one of the ways to get out of that. And I call them smart content. Smart content must not always be just AI or whatever or online materials. But this kind of smart content could be used so that students also can by themselves look for information outside AI. So we are using Coursera. Duolingo is another one. Some institutions do that. Professional development, also you can have virtual instructors and so on. Now, AI, I know that it holds enormous potential and so on, but I always tell one thing, that, okay, you need to implement it mindfully, carefully. It is important to invest in AI literacy for both educators like us and learners, and we need to monitor the impact of AI tools in the learning environment regularly. So, and human interaction oversight are necessary for a successful AI integration in the learning environment. But one important part is this. It is not yet an issue for both students and us. It is important to understand. AI is there. We don't know how long AI will dominate our domain of learning. There will be something coming within the next 2 years, 3 years, but we don't know. But at the same time, it is not an issue. It is not curing everything. It is not resolving everything. Students, especially who think that I have now AI, I can do anything, that is wrong. If they think that, okay, that will give me all sorts of resolution, that is wrong. Any questions, please? Yes. They are overseeing that. They are all trying to update things. And now, interestingly, when you look at OpenAI, so you know the story about OpenAI and Elon Musk? Who knows the story about Elon Musk and OpenAI? Anyone? Yes. And he's now out. He's now out. He wanted to, that was very interesting. So I think OpenAI is pretty good. Google Cloud is good, and both of them are about the same. But they're not very good. None of them. Anyway, and yes.
We actually have 2 questions.
Yes.
So actually, I'm an adjunct lecturer at the College of Economics and Political Science, and I have the student who submitted a speech, I did public speaking, and I suspected that it's AI generated. So I went tested it in an AI detector, but a free one online, and it says it's 50%. So I'm not sure how accurate these AI detectors are. I mean, I don't want to blame the student for something that might be wrong. It might be her work and not AI. So how accurate are
You cannot actually blame students for it, number one. Number two, unless you have proof of yourself, if you go through Turnitin and find the specific references. Right? If they said it is AI, I don't think it is right. It is difficult. It is very difficult.
Can I add something on this? even until now is not accurate in detecting it. So what you have to do is to bring the student and ask him to discuss it with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, because no clue at all. It's saying, you know, it's likely detected, it's likely AI generated, or likely AI paraphrased. So likely means it's not 100%. So you cannot judge him, you cannot punish him, you just have to discuss with him. But if you feel from the oral instruction that is not the one to do it, you can do it. But without that, no detectors at all till now. Even OpenAI itself, it has its own detector.
Can we use our own judgment as teachers? If you know your students, you know their skill,
Yeah,
you know
that is
how
what-
they perform, and you doubt it when they,
Yeah.
for example, provide something or submit something, you doubt that it is actually the student's work.
Look,
And it happened with me many times, but
Look, as a student, once I was a student at Monash. So my teacher, at that time we used to submit, I'm talking about 1990s, right? And we used to submit normal assignments. And she looked at it and she called me up in her office and said that, Sharif, is it your writing? I said, yes, it is mine. So I don't think so. It's too good to be yours. Then I said, why? He was challenging me, right? Exactly what you were referring to. Then he asked me to sit down and write, and she asked me a question and asked me to write something in front of her. I had to write 2 paragraphs. Then, you write good English. That was something that she did to me when I was a student, long time ago. And he's very right. But the problem is, if someone says that no, I didn't do it, and can you do something? That is the problem. So you cannot force somebody to confess. That is another problem. So yes, there are issues. You have another question?
Yes, first, thank you all of you. The second question is regarding, I know the students will be using ChatGPT, okay? So I want to teach them how they can use it ethically. So how can I first define what is the ethical use of AI before introducing it to my students? Because there's this concern of opening their eyes on using it in a way that might help them more than before. So what is the ethical use of AI?
Look, that is where they should learn. Say, for example, if you talk about ethics, they need to know what ethics is. That is the most important part of it. Because I teach, business ethics and corporate social responsibility. And when I ask my student, what do you think? You want to work for a multinational, and you know that the multinational is engaged in unethical activities. Will you still work for it? And then the question is, next question coming from the student is, what is ethics? What is ethical and what is not unethical? If they don't know it, they will do whatever is available there. So this is where the university is actually putting a lot of emphasis on it now. Corporate social responsibility. They're making it compulsory across the university. And that is important that both academics and students understand what is ethics and what is not ethical. And if they do anything unethical, what should be the ramifications? But it is a very difficult question to ask. And sorry, respond to. Thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you. So no other questions. So thank you so much, and thanks for inviting me.